It's almost midnight, so I'm going to tie up my cross stitching for the night because I have to adult tomorrow. It is a school day. I have to be up early. Boo! So I thought I'd give a little overview. I'm into the final row, so this is my very bottom here. So I'll just do a little sweep to show you where I'm at. So these little clips, because this piece has been on the frame for over a year now. I used an old technique, so my tension is crap. You can see the tape there that holds everything together. It's depressing. So I have shitty tension, and to compensate for that and not having to redo it at such a late stage, I'm just pulling it up with the clip, so it's not great. I have to take these off a lot so I don't ruin everything. But I'm so late in the project now that I'm like, I'm not going to pull it off and waste Velcro. I'm just going to suffer through this and get it done. So final row, I am doing what I like to call dual paging. So I'm working on 2 pages side by side. So this page for here, that page for there. The positioning isn't always the same. It depends on which part of the cross stitch that I'm doing. And pardon me, I've even had 3 pages going at once, especially if they're just like little partial pages. So I do have the other side of this page tucked under. When I start, oops, I'm dropping my phone. When I start a page, they grab one out. Look like this, proper full A4 page, and there's my little guide down there, my little page map. But I like to cut out just the pattern part so that it takes up less room on my fabric. So I dual page, I highlight. Over here we have the important things, which are the floss boxes, control, ignore that, leaks all over the shop with my highlighter. This is just like a puppy pea pad. It's kind of flogged out now, I need to swap it out, but it stops me from getting my highlighter all over the couch because I am like a 2-year-old with a crayon. I get it everywhere. Thankfully not so much on my floss. And then as you can see, I'm sitting on my lap frame with my granny blankie to keep my legs warm because it's cold here, and ye old faithful scissors. They're nice and sharp, so they're my favourites at the moment. So yeah, we've got the lap frame on holding the scroll. It's a huge scroll, so I'm really lucky that I have this couch that supports the scroll frame because it's hard to use my legs to hold it, especially after having a total left hip replacement. I still don't have all my strength there, so it's handy. And then it's actually like a rocking chair for my, I don't know, people call them poofs, I don't know why. So I'm going to show you my backside because this is like quite a popular thing for folks, is like showing off their backsides. Obviously not their actual bottoms, but the backsides of their cross stitch, and they're always super neat. Look at mine. Have you ever seen an uglier backside? Like, I've got dingle dangles all over the place. I trim them up a little bit, but I tend to travel. I mean, as you can see, I mean, look at the travel length there on that one, and I definitely need to trim that piece that I've left dingle dangling, but I travel a lot across because it's more time efficient for me, and I don't mind the floss waist stitch because I always have bucket loads of that colour, so I'm not constrained like you would be in a kit where you have to try and conserve your floss a bit more. That's another reason that I have 30% compensation in all my floss calculations in my patterns, is if you stitch like me, you're going to need that extra floss, and it's also why when I do it's late, a thread pack with my floss skeins, that I always have a minimum 1 skein and I round up. So it's always rounded up. I never round down, I always go up because you can never have too much floss. You can see the back side, like that's the back end that holds my needle minder on. So once I've gone and I'm tying off, I'll sort of like flick it off, leave the needle there while I'm like trimming and prettying up, and then I can rethread my needle and go from there. But these needles I'm not getting along with at the moment, so I've just stuck them on another, like I've got this little cute needle minder there for the needles I'm not getting along with at the moment, and you can see I'm using a yogurt bucket over there for like all my scraps and bits and pieces. It's like my little bin. So you can see too with this lap scroll frame that it's really versatile. It flips around a lot. You know, it's super mobile. I won't play with it too much or I'll end up dropping it and that'll be like sucky. I've got, I don't know if this is going to work, but not really because he hasn't been out for long. But I've only just pulled him out of like the dungeon. Where's my glow in the dark Kraken needle minder. He's like my baby, and I'm kind of needing something bigger because I'm in the final stages. I'm not worrying too much about retaining my floss on the needle, so I'm ending up with like quite a healthy stash. So I need something bigger than my little cutesy one. So my cutesy one's just for needles I'm not getting along with at the moment. So that's where I'm up to. I thought it would be interesting for you to see how I'm working at the moment and the whole concept of dual paging. Often too, if I have like, I'm going to continue with that floss, the next day I'll like leave it and I'll park it, called parking on like a needle minder, my little tree of life. I'm going to swap him out I think for one with more colour in it because I'm dying for colour at the moment. So you can see that it prints out pretty big too. I'm not a fan of eye strain. I can cross stitch for hours. I mean, I've been doing 4 hours solid at this point, and I can do longer than that sometimes. So I like that, and it works out really well for my highlighter too. Like, it's the perfect little size for my highlighter. So if you're interested, I don't know how you pronounce it, but they are the bomb diggity, these ones. They're like the absolute best. I've tried a lot of highlighters. I've even gone in for like trying the budget ones, and they just don't cut it. They're either really, really heavy on the ink and they bleed out on everything, and you end up like freaking out that it's going to bleed so far through your paper that it's going to end up on your fabric, and then you just end up with nothing, or they're really dry. They don't last as long. So these guys are like the absolute must-have for the series cross stitcher as far as like highlighters go. If you use this method, some people do it on an iPad. I don't. They're heavy, they're cumbersome, so you know, I can't do this with an iPad, and technology and I tend not to get along very well, so that's why I don't do that. And then I'll turn this off now, but up here I got this for something like $35 at Kmart, and I just put in a really like decent bulb in there, and it just stands on its lonesome. And yeah, I mean, you can see the difference it makes to my cross stitching experience, how dark this all is now. So again, this helps with my eye strain. You can see now that the light's off all the bumps and like the crappy tension I have. Really, really pathetic and depressing. It's so sad. Don't look at it. Don't look at my shame. Yeah, so this is my point in time. I'm really excited to be able to finish it off soon, because yeah, you can see like we're here. So we'll do that page, and then I think I have two, because it's partially done there. Oops, you can't see because I'm off with the fairies. Yeah, it's partially done here too, and then I started on that one before I got sick of trying to work on it before it was rolled up. Oh, nice tension there though, that's nice. So yeah, that's where I'm up to. Huzzah! So hopefully I get some time tomorrow night to stitch. Now that I'm on the home run, I'm really, really flying through it, and I'm really dedicated and committed to getting that finish in, because there's so many more cool projects I want to do. And because I have like a decent amount of fabric, I reckon, left over here, I'm going to trim it back before I send it to the framers. And I'm going to put it back onto a frame and just do like some little projects, because it's hand dyed and it's gorgeous. How can I waste it? I'm like, 18 count fabric, so pretty. This one's an under the sea fabric. I have tons and tons of under the sea fabric. Love, 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 love her fabric. It's the best. And they sew all the edges, like they're all overlocked too, so I don't get fraying, because I can cross stitch till the cows come home, but don't ask me to use a sewing machine. I am hopeless, and I took one look at an overlocker and went, no. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you got a few hints and tips on there, and we'll catch you on the flip side. See you guys.